Shabbat Shalom. So, every Jewish holiday has its food. So, even December 25th has its food. How many of us grew up or still eat Chinese food on the 25th? 24th, 20th, we're going to be doing it actually on the 29th. So as a congregation, we're doing it a bit late, but hopefully people will join us for the Dim Sum Shabbat next week. And we will have a gluten and vegetarian options as well. So for those who need, who are celiac or gluten intolerant or meat intolerant, anyway, you feel comfortable, we will, well, not quite. If you don't want garlic and onions, then probably this is not the meal for you. But we did find vegetarian soy sauce. In Japan, they have an even stranger custom for eating on the 25th. Does anybody know what that is? Yeah?
They go to KFC.
They go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. And if you went to Tokyo or anywhere in Japan, and there are KFCs everywhere, you would find they always have a little statue of Colonel Sanders in front of every KFC, and he'll be wearing a Santa Claus robe and a Santa Claus hat every year. But you can be sure that on the 26th, all of that will be gone. Because in Japan, the moment the holiday is done, everything vanishes. So they don't, in Japan they don't celebrate Christmas, but they do love Christmas lights, Christmas trees, and everything like that. They fill up everywhere with it because they like decorations. But by the 26th, the moment you go out that morning, everything will be gone. It doesn't last because even special foods for all the different things that they do in Japan, and there are lots of special foods for holidays, they're there for the day and probably for a few weeks before, but as the day comes afterwards, they're gone. And for the 25th, there's actually a very good reason why it has to be gone by the 26th. Because there's a much more important holiday coming up right afterwards, which is New Year's, January 1st. Now, for some of us who've been in Israel at this time of year, that's a strange sort of idea, because when I was in Israel, and this was way back in the 80s, the rabbinate actually was threatening that any restaurant or any hotel that had a celebration on New Year's Eve would be deemed as treif. And they said, because you're celebrating Sylvester. Now, if you went to most Christians and said, what's Sylvester? They wouldn't know. I certainly didn't. And I have to admit that the students at the rabbinicals at the Neve Shechter, who are in the rabbinical school, we certainly did celebrate New Year's, whether the chief rabbinate liked it or not. Although we definitely regretted it the next morning.
That's part of the celebration.
Now, I've been thinking a lot about Japan, especially because here in Northern California, the weather is quite a bit closer to Tokyo than it is in Syracuse or Edmonton, but also because I was thinking about the Chinese food next week and special foods, and because across the street from us pretty much is a Japanese supermarket. And if you went to that Japanese supermarket this week, you would see sales on soba, which are long noodles, and you would also see something called oseki ryori. Oseki ryori is a beautiful box full of food we can't eat. Pretty much. There are a few things we can eat. There are fish cakes that are probably okay, but there's tons of shrimp and other things like that. These are and there are 13 of them, and these are the special foods that in Japan they eat on New Year's and over the 3 days after New Year's. Because in Japan, most supermarkets and stores are not open, except for now the big stores are open on the 2nd and 3rd for the mass consumerism, but mostly supermarkets are closed for 3 days. I hope people don't live on this oseki ryori. They're apparently awful, but they are the traditional foods of New Year's. And they symbolize, so we have a variety of things that are on these oseki ryori. We have dai, which are Japanese bitter orange. That one's fine, but it symbolizes a wish for children in the new year. There's detamake, which is a fish paste, but that has shrimp in it, so no good for us. But it looks to a wish for auspicious days, and their wishes for many, many celebrations in the year. Their wishes for prosperity. Their wishes for all the good things of the year. And there are even fish heads that are there that don't quite wish that we're the head and not the tail, but pretty much the same thing. So the Oseki Ryori are there. You can buy them, and now actually, if nice restaurants make their version of Oseki Ryori, which include duck and other things like that, equally treif, but much more appetizing looking than the traditional Oseki Ryori. The soba, by the way, you eat on around the New Year's because a long noodle is for long life. So we eat soba, and they also eat mochi, which is really, really pounded rice, which apparently is actually a very dangerous sweet because it gets stuck in your throat, and apparently it's a great way of getting rid of seniors in Japan. It actually happens that they actually have warnings out. Seniors do not eat mochi, and people don't agree or don't listen, just like they still eat fugu, the puffer fish, even though tasting a tiny little bit of the liver, well, that's it. But in Japan, these oseki ryori, the mochi, the soba, are all simanim. They're all looking to a new year. They're all looking with hope to the new year that's coming. Not so different from us. On our new year, we also simanim. We have fish heads saying, I want to be the fish and not the tail. We eat leeks, at least Sephardim eat leeks, so that we can wish for friends and community. And we eat beets for freedom and growth, apples for a sweet new year, carrots for a positive judgment, and I could go on. And it really is nice if you start your Rosh Hashanah with a Seder eating those foods, because it reminds us of our wishes for the year to come and our hopes for the year to come. So before we go on for just a little bit, I was wondering if anybody had an idea about how we could make simanim out of the Chinese food that we eat this time of year, or if anybody has a special New Year's food on New Year's Eve that we can make a special siman. So anybody have any suggestions? Well, on this New Year's too? No. But I was thinking egg foo young, nice and puffy, and because we want a nice fulfilling year of airy and tasty and nice, rather than a year where everything is so solid that it's like a rock or a really bad matzo ball. Yeah?
I never made the connection, but we traditionally have sushi and champagne.
Sushi and champagne. Absolutely. Yeah? We're hoping for absolutely. And yeah.
Our favorite, eggnog.
Eggnog. So what does that mean for you? Also a sweet new year, I guess. Yeah, eggnog certainly. And if it's not a sweet new year, maybe the brandy or the rum or whatever you put in it will make us ignore or sleep through a really bad year to come. There was a meme online from 2022 where a man was very cautiously opening a door, which was marked 2023, with a long stick because he was afraid. And I understood that. And I'm sort of worried about this year too. So I posted the meme again. And I was thinking about that because this year we're moving into the year of the dragon. Now, is the year of the dragon auspicious, or is it something to worry about? Well, I guess it depends on where you come from. In Japan, a dragon is a very, very auspicious animal. The dragon, according to Buddhism, brings the Buddhist truth down to earth. So you see dragons everywhere, and they're always good dragons. In our country, in our world, in the East, rather in Europe, where we all mostly come from, or North Africa, or Asia, or in the Middle East, dragons generally are not positive figures, but are generally not so well liked. And I was thinking about that because I was looking at a medieval map, and does anybody remember what you often find on the edges of a medieval map? Hic sunt dracones. Here be dragons, in other words, in Latin. And you'll see a little picture of a dragon, And that's saying that these are dangerous areas beyond the pale. We don't know what's there, and there are dragons there, so really be careful because it's really, really dangerous. It's like going to the Lonely Mountain. So we worry about dragons. So the year of the dragons for me is a bit worrisome because what is it going to be? What kind of year will it be? Will it be a year of peace and prosperity for the world? Will it be the year of chaos and arguments and disintegration of that which we value? Well, ultimately, while we can't control it in a global sense, hopefully in our actions, how we look at the world, the kinds of messages we try to share, maybe we can shape it a little bit so that it's a year of goodness and peace, at least within our communities, and maybe stretching out if we can't control the world. And with that, I really liked our Torah portion today, because our Torah portion today contains not only a reunion between Joseph and his brothers, and not only a reunion between Joseph and Jacob, but much more importantly, it includes the reconciliation between Jacob and his brothers. That's a really powerful scene for me because, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, there are only 2 reconciliation scenes in the entire Torah. One is Jacob and his brothers, and the other is, rather, Jacob and his brother. That's number 1. And the second one is Joseph and his brothers. So those are really important scenes for me because they model what a new year, the possibility of a new year. Earlier this week, somebody asked me how many fast days there were in the year. And we went through them, and then Shelley reminded me of one more, which is on a wedding day, we fast. And why do we fast? Why do the bride and groom fast on their wedding day? Well, they fast because that's a mini Yom Kippur. It's a day that they start anew with a clean slate. And for us, that's what the new year is about as well. Starting again with a clean slate, and then taking the opportunity not to make the mistakes we've made in the past year. And that's what the reconciliation of Joseph and his brothers means to me. They were now, because of the reconciliation, able to start again as a family. It's why I like Yom Kippur so much. That's why I like Yom Kippur so much, because Yom Kippur is indeed a time where we have a clean slate. It's the beginning of the year, and it's saying we can do better in the next year, and we need to wash out all of the damage and all the horror that we've done in our families and in the world and try to do better. And then the dragons don't seem so dangerous, but maybe like Aslan, Aslan's not a tame lion, but maybe they're tame dragons instead. So our reconciliation is hugely important. And that's why I really disagreed with the chief rabbinate. The chief rabbinate doesn't like us to copy other people. Well, they better look at our history and all the holidays we have and realize how much grew out of other nations and other traditions as well. But ignoring that, what is the problem of having a multiplicity of New Years? We already have 4, so why not 5? Because what?
Or 6.
Why 6?
The astrological year.
Oh, actually, I mean, yeah, or the astrological or the lunar New Year, which comes the Chinese New Year, which is in about a month from now.
Yeah.
So we could have 6, that too. But why not have these times where we have another reminder that we can start over again? Another reminder that we can rebuild our relationships. Another reminder that this is a point where we can work towards that kind of reconciliation that we imagine on our New Year, but why not use all the New Years as well to achieve the same thing? And actually, David, I was thinking about the Chinese New Year. The Chinese New Year is not on our January 1st, but is a lunar New Year that comes about a month afterwards. And actually in Japan, like us, we like lots of New Years. In Japan, they actually have 2. Because they have the first New Year, which is on January 1st, but they have their traditional New Year that they used to celebrate, which is on the Lunar New Year. It's called, now in Japan, Setsuban. And they have a wonderful custom, 2 customs for Setsuban. One is many more, but two I'm going to mention. One is they sweep out their houses and say, bad luck out, good luck in, and hoping for a new year full of mazel. And they also have people who dress up as monsters, oni, and they throw soybeans at them. And this is a way of saying we need to throw, in a sense, throw things that are monsters, chase them away so that we can have a better year because we no longer are facing our monsters, but are facing the year with hope. One third custom also leads to that. In Japan, you'll find little round dolls all through Japan. These are called Daruma dolls. And you'll notice if you buy them that they have eyes but no pupils. And that's also a hope for the new year that's important for us too. Because what you do is you think about that which you want for the new year. A year of reconciliation with my family. A year where I achieve my potential. A year where I grow in mitzvot. A year where I make new friends. A year where I build a stronger Jewish community. You put those hopes and you paint the eye in one eye of the Daruma doll, and then at the end of the year, if you've achieved that, you put in the other eye. It's something for us to think about as we move towards the new year. What are our goals, even in this secular new year? Have we achieved the ones we made a few months ago on Rosh Hashanah? Have we even worked towards them? This is a reminder. Let's start, because we want to put that other eye in our metaphorical Daruma dolls. And now just to share a little bit more of Japan as we end. In Japan, this week we say Yo-Yo Toshio. You're only allowed to say it once to any person. And it more or less means have a happy new year. But you can only say it once. And then after New Year, you're not allowed to say that anymore. And then, because Japan's very strict about rules. Just like us, we're strict about rules too. And then we say Akimashite Omedetou Gozaimasu, which similar expresses a hope for a continued relationship in the new year. And that's my hope as well, that we take on the value of Akimashite Omedetou Gozaimasu, and we build strong relations, strong connections, and strong communities, and build for the idea of a dragon as a symbol of hope, not of fear, as we go into 2024. Shabbat Shalom. I almost said Shana Tova, but so instead I'll say Yo-Yo Toshio, and well, that's the official one. Happy New Year.